Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Neharka Walia Bhatnagar, and I'm with you with the area of ABFM. And what are we talking about today? We are done with the uh, almost the entire module C. This is the last chapter of module C, deal structuring and financial strategies. Once we are done with this particular topic, then we will start with the specific area of revision of this topic only. That means entire module C. So what are we talking about today? When we talk about this specific topic of deal structuring and financial strategies. Acha, what do you mean by deal structuring? What do you mean by the term deal structuring, everyone? We are having a deal where we might be having merger, acquisition, all those things, restructuring, whatever we are deciding, we have to look forward towards that area where we are getting clear about it. Now, till the time we are not clear about what we are dealing with, and are we making the compensation in cash or in the form of shares, what are the taxation based scenarios where we are going to work upon, है ना? All those things has to be taken into consideration. Only and only then we can look forward towards the entire area, isn't it? So that is related to this particular chapter, deal structuring and financial strategies. So here comes the first question. Everyone, what would be the answer to this question, everyone? What does the process of deal structuring and acquisition involve primarily? Firstly, what does it include? Is it the determining the target liabilities or allocating risks and achieving major objectives or finalizing the payment method or obtaining financial options? What's the first and the foremost thing that they have to see? When we talk about what is the process of deal structuring in acquisitions. Acha, acquisition means purchase. We are acquiring the other organization. If we are acquiring the other organization, then one of the major things is the first thing is always looking at the objectives, now everyone. So this is related to the area of allocating the risks and achieving major objectives. So in this case, the first and the foremost thing is always allocating of the risks and achieving the major objectives. What is risk sharing in context with deal structuring? Acha, risk is something that the more you distribute, the lesser it becomes. This is one of the realities of risk. Sharing profits equally between the acquirer and the target, distributing the liabilities of the target organization to the acquiring company, allocating risk between the parties involved, or splitting ownership rights and responsibilities. What do you mean by the term risk sharing? Of course, risk sharing plays a very important role in every organization. See, because till the time you're not sharing the risk among different people. For example, banks do this part, refinancing, syndicate loans, all those things happen because banks know that sometimes it's not possible or worth it to take all the risks on their own, you know. So in this case, this is based upon allocating the risk between the parties involved. Okay? Because we are spreading up the risk among different people. This is spreading up of risk. In the context of acquisition, what is the overall consideration method? Payment, approval, risk, allocation. In context of acquisition, acquisition means acquiring again. What is the process? What is the overall consideration method? How do we pay everyone? Payment method, consideration, or approval, risk allocation, or financing. It is the payment method. Consideration means what? What are we going to pay for that particular company that we are trying to buy? Right? Next point. Why is the corporate structure frequently utilized as the acquisition vehicle? Limited liability and flexibility in financing, tax-free deal options only, continuity of ownership only, or taxation benefits only. corporate structure frequently utilized as the acquisition vehicle? Corporate structure is basically the organization structure which we are talking about, and once we change the restructuring and other things, then obviously this is something which changes, you know. So why is this particular thing done when we're talking about acquisition vehicle? In terms of acquisition vehicle, the correct answer here it would be limited liability and flexibility in financing. That's the answer. What is the primary consideration for using cash in the form of payment acquisition, everyone? What is the primary consideration for using the cash as a form of payment and acquisition? In terms of this, is it borrowing capacity of the target company, high credit rating of the acquirer, desire to preserve control after the acquisition, or size of the acquirer's cash balances? What's going to be the answer? See, the point is when what is the primary consideration in terms of cash payment? Whenever we are making the payments, what is that particular thing? Ultimately, when we are making the consideration payment, it is always a desire to preserve control after the acquisition. After you purchase the other organization, you really want to still maintain your control in the other organization, because ultimately, the day you lose control, the organization's hold that you have or you possess is gone. Why do the acquirers with large cash holdings tend to make stock offers rather than cash offers? Target preference for acquirer stock, desire for benefit, tax benefits, preservation of control, or low credit rating of the acquirer. If you have low credit rating, then obviously the chances are less that someone else will basically take your money or involve with your company. So technically, this is something I'm ruling out altogether. Why do acquirers with large cash holdings tend to make stock offers rather than the cash offers? Desire for tax benefits? Not really. वैसे तो this is a part of it, because when you are giving shares instead of shares, in terms of amalgamation, yes, there is no taxation. Preservation of control, it doesn't really matter, because if you're technically if you're giving shares to someone, then your control is gone. So eliminating this part as well. Target preference of the acquirer stock. So that means I had an eye on the shares and I'm like, okay, if I'm getting a chance, I will buy your shares. That's the point. Target preference for acquirers stock, everyone. Acha, next question. What might lead an acquirer to choose cash in the primary form of payment in acquisition? Why would someone take cash? Technically, when you are, so this is acquiring, but in terms of amalgamation, we have a different scenario. In terms of amalgamation, what happens is, even if you paid a single penny of cash, the entire transaction becomes taxable. If you do not pay in terms of shares, you give it in the form of cash or any other kind, then it is taxable. But if instead of shares of one company, you get shares of another company, then there is no problem. Since there is just a movement of shares, then there is a point where there is no capital gains on it. Matlab, because obviously you still have asset of one company to asset of another company. There is no difference coming up now. There is no overvaluation of target shares. Acha nahi. Well, this is what I'll talk about, the area of capital gains. Okay. So that is capital gains. In terms of acquisition, it is definitely different. The one which is selling is subjected to tax, but the one who's buying is not subjected to any tax till the time he's not selling it. Done? Okay. Then overvaluation of the target shares or low credit rating of the acquirer. Then is fear of undervalued shares or desire for tax-free transactions. What's going to be the answer? What might lead an acquirer to choose cash? If someone is choosing cash, then probably because they choose as the primary. Overvaluation of target shares is not the answer. Acquirer means the one who's purchasing, है ना? The one who's purchasing, for them, shares is a different scenario. Low credit rating of the acquirer. If they have a low credit rating, then they cannot look forward towards that. Fear of undervalued share. This can be a point. Obviously, if you think that the shares might not be at its true value, then it can be a different scenario. And then is desire for tax-free transactions. I think in this case, the answer has to be D only. You have a desire for tax-free transactions. You sometimes just play with the cash, and you sometimes don't even show that there's a movement of cash. Next question. Why might acquirer stock be used as a principal form of payment in acquisition with a long integration period? If you're looking forward towards long integration period, desire for tax-free transactions, potential reduction in existing shareholder base, or reduction in total debt needed for the takeover, or fear of undervalued shares. Long integration period. Why would someone actually take a long integration period? Actually, no, when you want a long integration period, probably you have some liabilities which you want to take care of. You know, that can be the point, won't it be? So in this case, reduction in the total debt needed for the takeover. You really want that, because tax-free transactions is not the point where you're looking forward to long integration period. No, potential reduction in existing shareholder base. Nay, this is actually share reduction, but this is not the point. Fear of undervaluation is also not there. In this case, it's all about you just want to reduce your total debt before needed for the takeover. Because if you want to take over, or anybody else is trying to take over, always remember, if the liabilities are too much, then what will you do? We'll be stuck with that thought. Ki, Arey, the liabilities are already too much. How will we cater the entire work? Right? Genuine problem. I'm sorry. So let's move on to what's the next question now. Oh, this is actually in a mixed. The term is in. In a mixed or payment offer, why might the target company prefer the combination of cash and acquirer stock? What would be the reason? Why would someone look forward to what's mixed? But when we are looking forward towards the cash now, obviously, if we buy, if we are just getting the shares of that in terms of while making the payment, that the problem would arise, because in this case, the major problem that would occur is that in this case, you want to have tax-free transactions, no need for cash. Basically, the tax-free transactions aren't there at all. There is no undervaluation or overvaluation. In this case, you need money so that you can actually, first is you have the particular organization. Second is, in this organization, it has become a specific working there. What we would definitely want is that when we have to pay for the shares, we can pay from the money itself, rather than selling a share to arrange the funds for the particular transaction. It is better that in this case, need for cash to pay taxes on the sale of shares. That would be the answer. How does a multiple option bidding strategy generate uncertainty? What would be the answer to this question, everyone? By predicting the total amount of cash required, by predicting the number of shareholders choosing each option, by incorporating a proration clause, or by reducing the overvaluation of acquirer shares. How does the multiple option bidding strategy generate uncertainty? Basically, it is generating too much of uncertainty because in this case, we are determining the number of shareholders choosing each option. Okay? This makes the entire thing very uncertain in nature. What provision in the merger agreements and tender offers help acquirers determine the total amount of cash they would be required to pay out, everyone? Overvaluation clause, proration clause, dilution clause, or convertible securities clause? Which specific clause? That is proration clause. Overvaluation is the valuing it at more than the share price. Dilution means giving up on that particular portion of your the core. We are actually giving up the shares to someone else. And convertible securities matlab the shares can be converted into debentures. Sorry, debentures can be converted into shares, because every time an organization will always try to convert their loans into shares. That is proration clause. Why might bidders hesitate to use stock over offer convertible debt as a form of payment? To avoid proration of shares, to reduce the overvaluation of acquirer shares, to facilitate tax-free transactions, or to indicate their belief in the nature of the target company. We are always doing this scenario so that we can actually reduce the overvaluation of the acquirer shares. Because if there is an overvaluation, the chances are high that later on the organization might be facing backlash from the market itself, right? Okay, so in this case, what's going to be the answer? The answer will be B. Done. Chaliye. Then let's move on towards the next topic. When is a transaction considered taxable to the shareholders of the target company? Everyone? What's going to be the answer? When it involves a majority of the consideration in the form of equity, when it involves a majority of consideration in the form of cash, debt, or something other than equity, when it involves a majority of consideration in the form of convertible securities, or when it involves the majority of consideration in the form of stock. The answer is when there is a mix of all these things: cash, debt, and something other than equity. Done, everybody? I hope this session was helpful for you, everyone. Chaliye. So that's it for the day. I hope you have subscribed to our channel. If you haven't, then please go ahead and subscribe it. And if you are planning to take up any of our courses, then let me show you where to go exactly. Go on to our website, that is www.adda247.com. Go on to our batches there. Our batches are here itself, everyone. The resolution batch and the other batches that the resolution batch is the latest batch that we have come up with. This is our CAIIB Mahapack 2.0, right? And then we have the Shapat batch, this is for the bilingual. And then we also have the batch of resolution, which has got all the particular, see, this is our batch. In this case, all the 4 subjects are covered, but the optional is separate. If you're planning to get optional for the classes as well, then you should look forward towards the Mahapack, because it includes all these things. Along with it also includes the area of this also includes bilingual, English medium, both, all the optional subjects, and it also includes test series and ebooks as well. So you just have to apply the code Y541 and you will get 79% discount plus 1%. That means you've got 80% discount. So utilize this particular opportunity and purchase this particular course at the lowest price. So go ahead and check it out. Now everyone, thank you so much for being there. We'll be meeting